everybody, and welcome to another Crockpot Wednesday. And today we're going to have the leftover chicken that we had from Monday. So we're going to make chicken barbecue in the crock pot. And we're also going to have baked potatoes. And today I'm going to make you some Cuban rolls. I hope you really enjoy this video. So let's get started right away because we have a busy day ahead of us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of my leftover chicken, and as you know, on Monday I made the first part of this chicken, so we're still on the $3 of all of this chicken. And I'm going to put the chicken in the crock pot. It's all about not wasting food and using up our food. So we're going to have chicken barbecue, and we're going to have chicken barbecue sandwiches. Now this is a lot of chicken, and what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to freeze what's left over. Some barbecue marinade, and we're going to add this. I canned this last year, so I do not have a video on it. And we're going to add that to it. It just makes it really good. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up another one. So what we're going to do is we're going to have this just marinating all day in the crock pot. One thing about marinades is the longer you marinate it, the better it tastes and the better the flavor. To that I'm going to add a little bit of the leftover baby rays that I had from when I did my bulk meat that you all know about, and I had the baby ray for that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to let that marinate. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and we are going to have baked potatoes. So we're going to put the baked potatoes in the oven. As the chicken heats and marinades, I'm going to add more of this. So let's get working on our baked potatoes. I was cleaning out my refrigerator and I found that I had some red peppers. So I'm going to go ahead and put some red peppers in here. So we're going to make the Cuban rolls now. So we have our baked potatoes in the oven and we have our chicken in the crock pot. So what we're going to do is I'm going to share with you the recipe at the end of this video. So it's called Authentic Cuban Rolls. And why is it Cuban Rolls? It has a really chewy texture in the middle, but it has a very crunchy outward. So it's a little bit like a Italian bread. So let's get started and I'll show you how to make it. The recipe says you can use it by hand, you can use it with a mixer, or you can use it with a bread machine. And I always prefer using it with a bread machine to mix up my dough. It's so easy, it's no mess, and it really helps you save time. But not everybody has a bread machine. So you can go ahead and use your KitchenAid if you have one, or you can mix it up by hand. And mixing it by hand is the good old-fashioned way. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to use 4 cups of flour. I have a half cup measuring cup, so it's going to be 8 of these. We're going to add 4 teaspoons of sugar. Whenever I'm making bread of any sort, I always use the high gluten bread flour. It makes your bread rise so much nicer. It's going to call for 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. Always store your yeast in the freezer if you want it to last a long time. So it calls for 2 1/4 teaspoons. I'm going to go with 1, 2, and I'm just going to probably go like half. It calls for 4 tablespoons of butter or 3 tablespoons of lard. So I'm going to use the 3 tablespoons of lard because I have fresh lard. So in any bread recipe, you have a little sugar, you have a little bit of fat, and you have flour. And now we're going to add 1 1/4 cups of water, 2 teaspoons of salt. You see, I store all of my baking items in glass jars. In fact, I have an upcoming video where I've taken all of my food that I have in my pantry and put it in glass. And that's all it is to it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put it on the dough setting. Every bread machine has a dough setting where all you do is it works the dough up and it does not bake it. We're going to go ahead and we're going to add our water in it. Slowly. Now it depends on your climate, depends on the weather and the humidity. You may need to add a little more flour or a little more water. You want to make it a dough that is a good consistency, that it's very light and not sticky. You don't want to add too much flour because that will make it very heavy loaf. You want just the right consistency. I'm going to go ahead and pan the camera down and show you how it mixes up. It's slowly mixing it up. It's going to go on a very slow mixing cycle, and then you'll see soon it goes on a rapid mixing cycle. And every once in a while you just want to take the side of a spoon and just take it off the sides, the flour. And I'll show you how to do that. So I just take a spatula and I just go like this a little bit to help it out in the beginning, just to get all those goodies. See how nice it's starting to form a ball? And I didn't have to do any of the kneading myself. Go ahead and we're going to keep it mixing. It's mixing very nicely. And I'll get back to you when it's done rising. So our dough is finished. So what we're going to go ahead and do is put a little bit of flour on our table. Just a little bit. Our dough is nice and light and fluffy. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to shape a couple rolls. I'm not sure how many I'm going to make out of this, so let's see once what we do. Go with 1. Oh, 2. Some are going to be bigger than others. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in half. I'm debating on how big I want to make them. That's what I'm trying to figure out. So we're going to go like this. We're going to go ahead and we're going to shape them into a roll. A little bit of an oblong roll. So we're going to go like that. Now you can make these into sub rolls if you'd like, but I'm not. I'm making them into this size roll. Almost between a hamburger roll or a hot dog roll. We're going to just go ahead and score the tops. Just like that. You can make your own rolls for pennies. Just a little bit of flour, a little bit of lard, and a little bit of salt and yeast. And there you go. So what we're going to do is we're going to let these rise for 1 hour. And then I'm going to bake them, and then we're going to assemble our meal. I really want to encourage you to get out a cookbook. Get out your flour and your sugar and your salt and your yeast and make some bread today. You can mix it in your bread machine, or you can mix it by hand, or you can mix it in your mixer. But it's so satisfying in making your own bread. The smell is so delightful, and your family and friends will just love you for it. There's nothing quite like home-baked goodness. So I'll get back to you in just a few moments with the magic of the camera, and we will be done, and I will be fixing up my plate. It sounds good on a rainy, damp, and cool day. So the rolls are finished, and I wanted to show you close up what they look like. So let me get a smaller one, and I'm going to take a knife and I'm just going to cut it open. This recipe bakes beautiful bread, beautiful rolls. Really light and fluffy. It's not gummy and it's not heavy. Very light. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to make our sandwiches. And I have a baked potato. Everyone, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye!